Look, college and high school are great, but one thing they're now good at teaching us is personal finance. It's a lot of this practical stuff that we just don't learn. All of a sudden, credit scores start to matter. You have a lot more money after you get a full-time job that you don't know what to do with, and if it just sits in the bank, inflation kind of eats away at it. So how do we make the best of this? Using the STRIP framework, I'm going to teach you a lot of stuff that I wish I knew, which if I did know at 18, I would have earned like at least above 5 or 10k more. Let's start by talking about the safety net. Having an emergency fund that has 3 to 6 months or more of your living expenses just put away in a certain account will definitely help when the inevitable suddenly happens. If there's a global pandemic, if we all lose our jobs, you get the point. You might want to start manually setting aside money for your emergency fund, but you can also use features like autosave, which set aside a certain amount of your direct deposit or other funding in a rainy day fund. So the money that you save away in this way is great, but then if it's just sitting in a regular savings account, you're kind of losing money on it. See, there's 3 different things you could do. We'll mix and match this as you want. There's a high yield savings account, a certificate of deposit, and index funds that you could invest a certain portion of your money in. So I currently use a Chase savings account, and that offers an interest rate of like 0.01%. It like might as well not be there. But a high yield savings account is something you can open usually online, and they offer a much better savings rate, usually something around like 3.3% currently, or if you use my referral link for Marcus by Goldman Sachs below, you get 4.3 for a while. This ensures that your money is not just like sitting in an account, and it actually gains a little bit to help combat inflation. It may not like surpass it, but it's at least better than nothing. The APY or annual percentage yield that you come across may vary from time to time depending on the time of year, but honestly just stick with one account and use that. To put things into perspective, if you set aside like $10,000 in a certain bank in your savings account and just left it for 4 years of college, you would have gained an extra $1,000 on it. So if I knew this before, it would definitely help. If you know you're not going to touch the money for a certain amount of time, which you have to be really sure about, then you can use a certificate of deposit. Long story short, these offer better interest rates than a high yield savings account, but it also means that if you withdraw the money early, then they're going to like be certain penalties depending on the bank. Alternatively, you could put this money in a low cost index fund, something that's not going to vary a lot so that your security of the money is guaranteed. These usually have like a 10% growth rate throughout the year, so it isn't like that bad, and it's actually a pretty good investment. Of course, you can mix and match these approaches to match your certain circumstance, but having this sort of buffer always helps in the case that something bad happens. Next, it's also important to consider the debt that you have. This is usually when you owe someone money, mostly with interest. This can vary from credit card debt to personal loans to student loans and so on and so forth. To pay this off most effectively, rank your debt from the highest to the lowest interest rate and pay off the highest interest rate once first. In order to make this situation more personalized to your scenario, there is a personal finance flowchart that I found on the personal finance subreddit. I've linked the chart below, so make sure you see it. It's completely free. Alternatively, if you don't have enough money to currently pay off the debts, you can take up things like student jobs, part-time jobs, internships, and other ways to like increase your income in certain ways. Another thing we don't think about a lot is car payments. Now, if anything to do with your car, for example, your insurance, parking, maintenance, anything is like too high a cost and the costs outweigh the benefits, consider selling the car. It's something hard. Like I did it. I don't like doing it, but like, you know, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
You can always use rentals, public transport, or even get like another reliable, cheaper car. Once you have your debt sorted, we come to the most important topic of this video, credit scores and credit cards. See, once you start adulting, credit scores all of a sudden become very, very important because they basically determine your credit worthiness, which means how much money can the bank give you without you eating. If you're new to the whole game of like credit cards, credit scores and stuff, start off with like a secured or a no annual fee credit card. The secured credit card basically gives the bank a certain amount of money so that you won't default on the card, and a no annual fee is what it sounds like. I started off with the Chase Freedom Flex card, and my credit score currently is like hovering on the 750, 760 mark. That said, I do have a free checklist on things that you have to do before, during, and after college to help make this financial transition to adulting easy for you. So once you have the secured credit card or a no annual fee card, use it as conservatively as you can, pay off your bills on time always, and always use under 30% your credit limit. So once you've used these basic beginner credit cards for 6 months or a little bit longer than that, apply for more like better credit cards like the Chase Sapphire Preferred. I currently hold the Amex Gold and I'm effectively paying like a $10 annual fee for it because I would have used those like credits for food anyway. Track your credit score regularly. There's free applications to do this like Credit Karma, and I also use the Chase mobile app to do that. And these can give you free tips on how to increase your credit score or where exactly you are in your credit journey. Lastly, educate your stuff. Credit cards are really, really powerful. I've basically used my credit card rewards just by using like normal spending, and it's got me to book like free flights. I literally booked like a free flight to Alaska right now with my rewards. Next, we'll move to talking about something that could be a little bit boring, but is important because it will make you millions in the future, and that's retirement accounts. See, there are 2 types of retirement accounts that we should know about. First one is a 401k, and the next one is an IRA. So a 401k is a pre-tax retirement account. This means that the money that you get from your paycheck Before it is taxed, you can contribute a certain amount to your 401k. And then once you take it out, like in 40 years or whatever, that will be taxed as normal income. On the other hand, an IRA, which is an individual retirement account, is a post-tax contribution account, I guess. So this means once you receive your paycheck, you pay income taxes, federal taxes on it, and then contribute the rest of it to an IRA. The benefit of this type of account, though, is that whatever growth happens in that particular account, you don't have to pay any taxes on that growth. This could make a difference if you're in like a higher effective tax bracket. So then if you contribute a certain amount to 401k, you might just effectively reduce the tax bracket that you're in. Most employers also offer a 401k match. Long story short, this is free money. Take it. Contributing to these accounts doesn't mean the money just sits there though. You could invest this in a lot of different things. For example, you have index funds like S&P 500, mutual funds, target date funds, which basically make stocks less risky as you get closer to the date of like maturity. All of this makes sense, but it's just so densely financial that I hope you understand it. Like, if you guys are sticking through so far, thank you. All right, retirement crap out of the way. The next best, easiest thing that we know, investing. There's different types of investing you can do, ranging from stocks, mutual funds, index funds, and even real estate if you have the money for it. So even if you're a non-citizen, you can still invest in the US stock market using financial services like Vanguard, Fidelity, or Chase. Chase is something I use personally. You can open a self-directed investment account. If you're interested in using Chase, there's a code below. As a first step, investing in index funds may be a good choice because these don't like wildly fluctuate as may some other stocks options like Tesla, for example. I lost so much money with Tesla. That said, figure out your own risk tolerance, how much money you're willing to lose, because always invest with that mindset. Like if the money goes away, will you still be fine with it? It's also important to diversify your portfolio by buying stuff like bonds, which are like the most boring but like appreciable things you can get, and a good share of stocks, index funds, and so on and so forth. Do your own research on this. Again, it's based on your like risk tolerance. If you have the time, it's also beneficial to talk to an advisor. Now, next, obviously, don't forget to invest in yourself by constantly learning new things. This is not a plug for Skillshare. I wish it was. Last but not least, plan for the future and set your financial goals. You can set short, mid, and long-term goals, and how you define these is completely up to you. The most important part of all this is learning more about your financial self, your responsibilities, and what you need and want. This constantly changes over time, so it's obviously important to adapt for this. Interesting side note though, if you're interested in the cultural differences in money between India and the US, pause and read this thing on the screen. I thought it was really interesting. Congratulations, thank you so much for sticking it through the end. This was a lot of information for one video. You might have to rewatch some parts of this. Do a lot more of your own research too, because it is a lot. That said, I do have a free checklist on things that you have to do before, during, and after college to help make this financial transition to adulting easy for you. These are things I wish I knew, and hopefully they'll help you. So thanks for sticking along. I will see you in next week's video. Bye.